Let's say our problem is asking us to find 15% of 55. So if we surround this with some words, we would say you went out to dinner, it was a $55 bill, you wanted to give the waiter or waitress a 15% tip. So we would have our percent here of our whole amount is going to go ahead and equal our tip, which is the part. So I'm going to first use a double number line to solve. So when I set this up, I'm going to go ahead and put my zeros, and then I'm going to put my 100%. So we'll label this percents on the top, and we'll label this dollars on the bottom for our tip. So this time we want to find 15%, which is not a multiple of 10, so we have to do some extra things. We do know that the whole amount is 55, so 100% makes $55. Easily, the most easy thing to do right now would be go ahead and find 10%. So if I find 10%, that's 100 divided by 10 makes 10. 55 divided by 10 means that we're going to take our decimal and move it one place to the left. So it becomes $5, and we're going to put the zero on the end so it makes sense to us, $5.50. My target is 15%, and right now I can't make 15% unless I have 5%. So to get 5%, I would have to divide by 2, and I'm going to go ahead and divide by 2 again. So $5.50 divided in half would be $2.75. Then in order to find 15%, I'm going to go ahead and add together 5 plus 10 to get 15. So I'm going to add the bottom two numbers together. $5.50 plus $2.75 is $8.25. So you would leave an $8.25 tip. Next, I'm going to use a tape diagram to solve the same problem. So if I want to set up my tape diagram, I'm going to draw my rectangle with 10 equal pieces. Let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And I know that my whole amount of my tape diagram is $55, which matches my 100%. Which means each piece is $5.50. And again, I'm putting that zero on the end so it makes sense. Okay. All right, so now I needed to find 15%. So I know that I'm at least going to have 10%, which is $5.50. Plus, I need to have a half more here because the whole thing would make 20%. So half of it makes 15. Well, again, I have to do that half of $5.50, which is $2.75. If I add 275 plus 275, I get 550. So in order to find my tip, I have to add $5.50 to $2.75, and I get $8.25 for the tip. If you wanted to use this ratio table to solve this, you have two ways to set this up. You can compare 55 to 100 because both are the whole amounts, or you can say 15 out of 100 because 15% means 15 out of 100. So we actually have two ratios we can start with. I'm going to go ahead and start with comparing the dollars, $55 out of the 100 because that's the whole. So this would be what I would consider my dollars. These would be my percents. So my target of 15 is going to go on the bottom. So we're going to go ahead and use our ratio table to find our answer. I'm going to easily divide this by 10, and I'm going to divide by 10. So this makes 5.5, but again, we want that zero on the end because we're talking about money, and this makes 10. In order for me to get to 15, I would have to divide this by 2. So I'm going to go ahead and divide by 2, which makes 5, and I'm going to divide 550 by 2. If at one point you did not understand what 550 divided by 2 is, you could put that in your calculator. Then you have 275. Then in order for me to get 15%, I'm going to add 10 plus 5 to make my 15. And I'm going to add together $5.50 plus $2.75 to again get $8.25.